Today, we're going to talk about Brittany Griner, the professional basketball player that is now, or was, playing overseas in Russia. And the reason that she was playing overseas, according to her, allegedly it was because the money was good. But before we really get into what happened with her, I think we need to really discuss America versus the world. In spite of what many people may say and argue about America, America has certain laws, but it also has certain freedoms that is not known or recognized in almost 85% of countries around the world. Although you may have some countries that are democratic, even in democratic countries, many of the laws and freedoms that we have in America, it is not in other countries. Here in America, we have the freedom of speech. In America, we have freedom to be whatever sexuality you want to be, the freedom to love who you want to love, the freedom of any religion you want to practice, even the freedom to do certain drugs or weed or etc. types of but in other countries, the freedoms that we have, other countries do not have. And the way that the laws operate in other countries are not the way laws operate here. As Americans in America, we cannot operate that same way in other countries. I was in the military, and one of the things that they tell you when we go overseas to any other country, the only time American laws in another country operates is if you on what would be known as American soil. So for military people, it'd be military bases. For foreigners or people traveling overseas, it's American embassy. But anything outside that American embassy, anything outside that military base is that country law. And so when you're in another country, you have to abide by that country's laws and that country's rules. So what does this mean? Well, in America, you have the freedom to be whatever you want to be. But in other countries, you cannot be that. In Brittany Griner's case, there's two situations going on. She is an open lesbian or a member of the LGBT alphabet community, and she was allegedly caught with weed or some form of drug paraphernalia. In Russia, those two things are illegal. And because they're illegal, she was caught with it, allegedly. But as you notice from the thumbnail, I brought Shikari Richardson in this conversation. Why? Shikari Richardson, a track runner, also representing America, was also caught with allegedly weed in her system. Now, I want us to really understand the conversation from this angle. While many people want to argue that America should just go over there and get her back, or that there was unfair treatment with Shikari Richardson, I think we need to really analyze two things when it comes to these two women. One, accountability. We have to start recognizing that we need to take accountability for our actions, especially when we're going into someone else's country. Because they're not going to care about your feelings. They're not going to care about how you grew up. And I think it's very interesting. They really don't care about your race. What do I mean? While many of us may identify ourselves as African American, Black American, Negro American, well, those identities only represent you here in America. But overseas, you're American. They do not see your color. You're American. You talk American, you act American, you think like an American. So you're an American. Now, in their country, they don't want to hear nothing about your American rights because you're not in America. It's about their rights, what they believe, and how they operate. And when you or I go overseas to any foreign country, we have to recognize their laws and their rules. And as they say, we have to do what Romans say if you are in Rome. These two women sought American freedom that is not given to them outside of America. And because of that, they both suffered a consequence. For Shikari, no running in the Olympics. But for Griner, we're going to hope that she one day receives her freedom out of Russia. Now, I also want to add this. While yes, Russia is, quote, an enemy of the United States, but I also want to add that countries, even though they may have a friendly relationship with America, they do not, under any circumstance, have to give any American citizen the right to turn them over back to America. Let me say that again. Although there are countries that have a relationship with America, those countries are not obligated to give American citizens back to America if those citizens broke laws in their country. Wherever you go outside of America, please note that what you can do in America, you cannot do overseas. Second thing I want to bring out, it's time that we learn to take accountability for our actions. We have to recognize, people, these two women made a choice, and their choices has consequences. Every day we wake up, we have a choice, and our choices can result in consequences. Some consequences is good, and some consequences is bad. And in these two women's cases, the choices they made caused their consequences to go down. Do me a favor. Put a comment in the comment section. Give me your thoughts, views, and opinions on this case. This is Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. Peace.